Hi, my name is Talia. I'm a staff member at Discovery, and I'm going to help you do your homework today. So today we're going to talk about random functions, and by that I don't mean like a random assortment of functions that we use. I mean functions from the random library. Basically, there's two main functions from the random library that we use. The first one is random.randint, and the second one is random.choice. And I kind of wanted to go over them because sometimes it's like easy to get them confused and like not know when you're supposed to use them in a problem. So let's start out with random.randint. Basically, this function takes in two parameters. That's basically the beginning and the end of a range, right? So when you put in two parameters, random.randint will select a value, a random value within those two parameters. And this always has to be numbers, and that's indicated by the int. It's basically short for random integer, right? Like random integer. It only selects from whole number integers. So for example, if you put in the numbers 2 and 6, this function, when you run it, would select a random integer between 2 and 6, and both bounds are inclusive. So it's possible to get 2 and it's possible to get 6. So if you ran this a bunch of times, you would get like 4, 3, 2, 6, maybe another 6. It's random. And each number in this sequence is equally weighted. So since there's, I'll draw out the entire range. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the entire range that you're drawing from. And random.randint gives each of these numbers an equal weight. So because there's 5 of them, you have a 20% chance of getting any one of them. So that's like the key thing of random.randint. There's not as much flexibility with it. And that's kind of why we also occasionally use this function random.choice. This one's a little different. You have more freedom with which parameters you use, and also more freedom with what might be generated when you run it. So you can run this exactly like random.randint. If you wanted to get this exact same output, you could do a list of numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's no reason why you would do that because this is way easier, but it's possible to get the same output with random.choice. Notice here that there's a list format in the parentheses. Basically, in random.choice, you put in, most of the time when we use it, a single parameter that's just a list of values that you want to choose from. But the cool thing about random.choice is that any kind of data type can be in that list. It doesn't have to be integers. Like here, this says it has to be an integer. Here, it does not have to be integers. You can do random.choice and choose between cat and dog. And those are strings. You can do random.choice with any kind of data type, and it'll like produce a random output. Another cool thing about random.choice is it allows us to weight the values differently. Whereas in random.randint, we can't control that each of these has a 20% chance of appearing. We can manipulate lists of numbers and other data types to give one more of a chance of appearing than the other. So say we wanted to pick between 2 and 6, but we wanted it to be way more likely that we get a 6 for whatever reason. We could go up here and add like, oh, it's kind of shaking. Okay, we could add like 5 more 6s because it's just picking from this list of numbers. It doesn't really understand that it's a range. It just picks one element from the list, and because there's way more 6s in this list, it's gonna produce more 6s when you run it. You can do the same thing with strings. I could add another cat here, and then you'd be twice as likely to get cat as you are to get dog. And we can go and make some probability assumptions based on the weighting, like that. So those are the two key differences between random.randint and random.choice. I hope this helps with a lot of the questions that are going to come up later with simulations and functions and random selection and probability. So yeah.